All right, hey guys, it's Connor Fillmore with Team Rex. You don't see me very often, but we're out here today at Spectrum Lanes working with Eric Harmsen. We're going to be going over some tips and some helpful instruction pieces to help you guys improve your game. So Eric, what do you want to talk to us about today about?
Today we're going to be going over three different things. We're going to start with timing, then we're going to transition from there into playing different angles on the lane, and then with that coincides your body positioning at the foul line. And we'll talk about that too.
Yeah, so just some really helpful things to get your game, maybe up another couple 10 pins average, whatever it's going to be, just getting you to the next step. So we're going to go over some of that stuff. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. We're over 50K subs and we're just trying to keep going. So all right, let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to get started out here on the lanes. Eric's going to show us some things about timing. So you're going to throw a shot. What should we be looking for as you throw here?
Well, here it really depends on where you want to play on the lane, right? So let's take this for instance on this lane 39 here. I haven't thrown a ball in this lane yet. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start farther right, and with that I'm going to essentially speed up my feet a little bit to kind of speed up my timing as well. If I want to play on the right, I'm going to be able to get out of the ball quicker and cleaner, and try to hopefully keep it on line and not pick off the 7-pin.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's see what it looks like. But let's talk and let's focus on the two shots. What I keep trying to think through before we really get into it is how I can explain it to you, the viewers, how we're doing that, right? Because you can show somebody by doing it yourself all day long, but explaining it is another thing.
Yeah, what is your process? What is the process you can follow to increase your speed or decrease your speed through your timing of your swing and your approach?
Good.
Right?
First step. Your first step is a very good start. Yep.
Quicker or slower.
Let's do that. Let's throw one shot where we started at around 15, right? With a faster timing, right? With faster timing. Let's talk about that first step that's going to, essentially trigger everything after that. And then let's move left. Let's slow down our timing, right? Because obviously when we slow down our timing, our ball speed, everything's going to go a little bit slower, and we need to move left. These lanes are on fire, as you can see. And then let's talk about that first step.
Sure. So let's
do
get
it.
a shot in.
All right. So again, we're going to go right back to home, what we've been at, right? So we're going to try and roll this around 15 here. And this is going to be with a little bit faster timing, right? So let's throw one.
Quicker, right?
A little quicker, yep. And that's what happens when you stone a 9-pin. All right, so not a bad shot, right? That's a pretty good shot. So let's talk about that, right? When we're trying to speed up our timing, really it comes to be with what's important is your first step, okay? So that first step, right? So my first step is going to be significantly larger of a step than normal.
Okay,
right?
so to speed up, you take a bigger step.
I take a much larger first step, right? Probably 2 to 3 times my normal step, right? So that's really going to set things in motion for me, and it's really set the pace, right? Having that larger first step is going to cause my body to speed up, my feet to speed up, to catch up with my timing before I release the ball, right? So let's move left a little bit. Let's really do the opposite and slow that down.
You're slowing down, so you're going to take a smaller step?
Yes, I'm going to take a significantly smaller step. So I might take half of a step of a normal step, right? Where I'm literally just shuffling my first foot. Again, that first step is really going to set the tone for what happens throughout the rest of your approach. So let's throw one here and see what happens. So we were rolling around 15, right? So let's just move 5 left, right? Move a little bit more with my feet. And remember, the key is that first step, right? That's going to really set the pace for your approach.
The same spot on the lane?
20. I just moved in 5 boards, right?
So moving 5 left with your feet and 5 on the lane.
Yep. It's not a terrible shot there.
So you took a shorter step to slow yourself down.
Correct. Yep, essentially slow down my timing with that shorter step, right? And then when I wanted to increase my timing or speed things up, right? When I wanted to play a little further right, my first step is going to be significantly larger, right, than a normal step. And again, that first step is key, right? It's just like seeing your pro shop operator if you want to have the right fit, right? It's going to set the tone for everything you do.
And then you're going to change your timing based on lane conditions if you need it to be quicker, slower, depending on maybe the oil pattern.
Exactly. Yep. On a league night, 3 games, I'm going to change my timing several times throughout the night.
Perfect. Cool. Not a strike, it went a little high. Tell us what happened.
Sure. Obviously, we slowed down our timing significantly, right? Our first step was much smaller, right? And that was more of a shuffle step. That's going to essentially lengthen out that approach, right? It's going to slow down everything, including my ball speed, right?
Okay.
The ball obviously read earlier.
Yep. So we talked about adjusting the timing. So you said you took a shorter step to slow down, which means you probably take a longer step to speed up, correct?
Exactly. When we're speeding up, that first step is going to be significantly larger than any other step that I'm going to have. And it's going to be probably between 2 to 3 times longer than a normal step on my approach, right? And when we do the opposite, when you just saw, when we slow things down, that's more of a shuffle step, right? Sure. So that's going to be about half the length of a standard step for me. And again, those really set the tone and precedence for what we're going to do to get to the approach, right? How fast we're going to get there and how quick we're going to be able to get the ball into the lane.
So to recap, if you need to speed up your approach, you're going to take a longer first step. If you need to slow down, you're going to take a shorter first step.
Correct. Yep. And that's an easy way that you can put that into play in a matter of 15 minutes or a half an hour in practicing to add that to your game.
Yep. Okay. So next we want to talk about kind of your body position and kind of where you start on the approach for these different angles that you might be playing on the lane. So Eric, kind of tell us some things about starting, how you line up for the approach, and what goes through your head with that.
Sure. Let's grab a ball and let's show you what that looks like. So again, let's go back to where we started at, right? So we want to try and be essentially more right, and obviously on a pattern that we're not familiar with. So again, everything starts with 3 points here, guys. Your feet, your hips, and your shoulders, right? So being as I want to play straighter on the lane, I'm going to really set this up essentially where I'm straight with the lane, right? So everything from here is going to transition essentially directly down the lane. It's going to allow my ball to stay on target much easier than opening everything up, again, because we're trying to play straighter here. Let's throw a shot and let's see what it looks like. All right, so as we talked about, guys, the feet are straight, hips are straight, shoulders in line with our target. So as you can see, that one went a little high. So let's show what we want to do to open up our angles here and try to get that ball in the pocket.
Okay,
right?
so first shot went a little high.
Yep.
So how are you going to adjust, and what is your body position going to look like?
Sure. Obviously, you can tell these lanes are kind of on fire right now. So let's move in a little bit and let's show you what that looks like with body positioning again, from your feet to your hips to your shoulders, right? Let's open up the lane. All right, so we're going to make a good move in here, right? So again, like I said, let's start with the first thing, easiest thing, your feet, right? We previously were straight. We wanted to play straight up the lane. Let's really open up our feet, right? With that, your hips are going to open and your shoulders, right? We're obviously not playing straight down the lane at this point. This is going to allow us to essentially get through the ball and get the ball to our friction point, right? Without playing down the lane so straight, right? Let's use that oil in the middle of the lane. Let's see what it looks like. All right, guys, let's move left here when we're going to open up the lane and open up our feet essentially, right? So as I mentioned, we're going to start with our feet, open those up, our hips follow, and our shoulder follows, right? This is going to allow us to essentially use what's on the lane, that oil, more in the middle of the lane here, and then get the ball out to the friction. All right, so we went high there. Naturally, we just move in a little bit, do the same thing.
And rolling.
Okay, so on that last shot, you moved left, and with that, you had to open up your body angle to adjust with the move.
Yep.
Take us through like an extreme example so people understand why you do that.
Sure. So obviously my feet, my hips, my shoulders were open up, right? So let's show you on the lane. Let's try and do the opposite, right? When we were playing right, we close things down. Let's show you what that might look like, right? So say I want to get over and I want to play like 4th or 5th arrow, even 6th arrow, right? So if I'm standing here like we started to talk about, right? Feet are straight, hips are straight, shoulders. How am I going to physically, with my approach and my release, get the ball to where I want to down lane, right? It's gonna be very difficult. You probably hurt yourself, right? So let's throw a shot here and show you what I'm talking about when we really need to go to the extreme and open up our angles. All right, guys, let's go ahead and like we talked about, let's move left and see what happens here. So I'm gonna be in here probably at about 25, 28, right? And essentially where I'm targeting is my body is essentially facing Connor right there, right? So that's gonna really allow my hips, shoulders, everything to get the ball right? So part of the reason I'm playing here is I wanna use the oil in the middle of the lane, but I also want to get the ball to the friction, right? To the dry so it hooks. Let's see what happens. Not a terrible shot, should be good. It's a pretty good shot. So let's play that same area, but let's really close things down and see what happens. All right, so when we play that same area again, let's close down not only our feet, but our hips and our shoulders, guys. So that changes, and I'm essentially playing down the left gutter, right? So I'm gonna try and hit again, still, 25, 28 in there, and let's see what happens. There you go. And that's what's gonna happen, right? I need to be able to project the ball and get the ball right.
All right, so wrapping up what we did today, so we talked about timing, adjusting your starting position and your body position in tune with that. I mean, any quick recap notes?
Sure, we talked about a couple little key points, right, guys? Things that you can put into your game in about 15 minutes or 30 minutes of practice. Simple stuff, right? So, if there's more that you'd like to know or see me back on the channel, guys, put those in the comments here, and hopefully we can get back with Rex. Again, thank you, guys. Thanks to Spectrum Lanes, obviously DV8 for sponsoring, and Radical Restore Extreme Bowling Ball Cleaner, guys.
Yeah, awesome. So again, thanks Spectrum Lanes for letting us shoot the videos here. They're awesome. And like, subscribe to the channel so we can get you some great content moving forward.